Artificial intelligence is accelerating rapidly, yet instead of providing relief, it is actually generating widespread, debilitating structural exhaustion. This graphic quantifies the resulting confidence gap. While 95% of employers anticipate organizational growth, only 51% of the workforce shares that positive outlook. The scale of this disruption is severe. Current projections indicate 39% of core skills will change by 2030, and right now, a mere 17% of employees feel prepared for the future. Look at this transition. Modern knowledge work has moved from a series of finite tasks with clear finish lines into an infinite game of constant, overlapping adaptation. To cope, organizations make a foundational error. They apply process optimization to merely speed up legacy steps, rather than using process design to rebuild workflows from the ground up. This leads to a false growth mindset, where individuals are praised for simply working harder and burning out within these broken, unoptimized systems. Surviving this new, relentless landscape requires completely abandoning raw willpower. Professionals must instead build an advanced cognitive operating system. Closing the confidence gap demands a synchronized technical and organizational restructuring. It requires a strict methodological change in exactly how human attention integrates with machine intelligence. Artificial intelligence has evolved past reactive, isolated tools into agentic systems capable of executing complex goals entirely autonomously. This introduces the new agency equation. As autonomous systems take over daily execution, human agency must pivot entirely toward strategic oversight and creative direction. This diagram illustrates the danger of the legacy one-to-one model. A single human querying a single AI creates a severe cognitive bottleneck, resulting in a narrow, highly congested algorithmic echo chamber. We bypass this bottleneck by reorganizing the workflow into the 3 minds framework. First, we establish Mind 2, the primary AI. This agent handles daily operational workflow, coordinates processes, and maintains the institution's historical memory. Next is Mind 3, the specialized AI. Focused purely on localized domain expertise, it triangulates and challenges the assumptions made by Mind 2. Finally, the triangulated data flows up to Mind 1, the human director. The human receives multiple objective perspectives and acts strictly as the final strategic tiebreaker. The labor market is already pricing in this shift, driving a 1,587% surge in demand for skills related to AI agent orchestration. Orchestrating multiple AIs with differing context windows elevates the human to a strategic tiebreaker, using objective triangulation to finalize decisions.
Accessing raw AI power is useless without strict sequencing. Innovation must be managed as an exercise in portfolio optimization. We have to contrast 2 core capabilities: predictive AI, which excels at quantifying risk and establishing historical benchmarks, versus generative AI, built to evaluate novelty and surface atypical connections. This matrix maps pathway A, designed for sustaining innovation. It requires sequencing predictive AI first, pointing the workflow toward a tightly clustered, low-variance target zone. Receiving predictive recommendations first forces the human evaluator toward structured, precise solutions, driving incremental margin and strict quality improvements. Conversely, pathway B targets disruptive exploration. Here, we sequence generative AI first, and the data explodes outward into a wide, scattered, high-variance target zone. This specific sequence yields a wide, highly creative variance of ideas, which is ideal for identifying breakthrough concepts in emerging markets. These outcomes connect directly to the interfaces we choose. Dynamic chatbot-based interfaces naturally increase exploration, but they can easily degrade the precision of the final output. On the other hand, static, fixed content interfaces improve objective accuracy and consistency, but they severely narrow the exploration window. Strategic output is not determined by the raw intelligence of the software. It is determined by the architect's intentional sequencing of probability and variance. Constant data flow expands the modern organizational threat vector, shifting the focus from traditional cybersecurity to disinformation security and severe app overload. The psychological outcome is information addiction, a behavioral loop driven by a fear of missing out in a low-barrier data environment. This flowchart maps the diathesis stress framework. When external geopolitical or tech shocks hit a distal vulnerability, it triggers compulsive information seeking as users attempt to gain a temporary sense of control. The operational cost of this compulsion is massive. It takes over 23 minutes to fully recover cognitive focus after a single digital interruption. This comparison table maps our defensive options. On the left, legacy manual RSS readers demand 90 minutes and a severe attention tax. On the right, automated AI synthesizers require just 10 minutes and minimal attention. By using AI synthesizers to deduplicate 30 or more sources into a single block, professionals recover hours of deep work capacity every day. At the organizational level, teams cure app overload using the 4S framework: streamline, sync, standardize, and support, establishing a single source of truth. Individually, professionals apply the SCAN method: skim, check, analyze, and note, to ruthlessly process retained, high-value information. Protecting these 23-minute focus blocks is a prerequisite for human-centric skills. Data shows empathy and active listening are highly durable, but they degrade when the brain is stuck in a permanent state of context-switching recovery. High-performance cognitive habits do not just operate in a vacuum. They require a relentless baseline of physical energy. This physical vitality provides the baseline fuel for the adaptability quotient, or AQ. It is the specific capacity to learn, unlearn, and pivot under pressure without losing direction. Organizations manage this fuel through the 4Es framework: monitoring workforce depletion and emotional regulation to ensure leaders maintain cognitive clarity during high-stakes transitions. The bedrock of this energy element is physical. Resistance training working close to fatigue stimulates bone density and muscle mass, creating the long-term physical resilience required to sustain cognitive effort. Look at this decision node. High performers don't rely on willpower, which is constantly blocked by friction. Instead, they engineer a smooth, unobstructed path through system design, making success automatic, like silencing notifications during 90-minute deep work blocks and treating smartphones like fixed landlines. The complete cognitive operating system aligns perfectly into a 3-tier stack: a strict physical baseline at the bottom, the AQ framework in the middle, and multi-agent orchestration at the top. To prevent the cultural debt of displacement anxiety, leaders must redefine accountability, using technology to amplify the lived experience and trusted advice of their workforce. The competitive advantage in 2026 belongs to those who protect their focus, align physical energy, and use AI exclusively to amplify strategy.